Welcome everybody, this is Commander Jeremy Daniels, or I suppose Admiral Daniels, or that crazy guy who's always going around in the warships and doing things that are, quite frankly, horribly ill-advised. Coming to you today with XCom 2. I played through the, well, not the original, but the remake of XCom that they did, I guess. Reimagining would probably be a better term. XCom 2012, or XCom Enemy Unknown, and its expansion, XCom Enemy Within. I may later try to do a playthrough of the XCom 2012 expansion, but I was actually trying to do that tonight. But for some reason, it just didn't want to load. So instead, I'm going to be launching this off with XCOM 2. I've played through a little bit, started to get the hang of the controls, hang of how things work, but I didn't really get all that far in. Now this isn't going to be a blind playthrough because I have watched somebody else do a playthrough of this. It was Scott Manley and his excellent commentary, especially given how he brings in real, actual, interesting sciencey type stuff as well. Me, on the other hand, I'm an accountant. Take that as you will. I'm not going to reduce the beginner VO, but I am going to skip the tutorial. So instead of having to go through the scripted tutorial where you lose all but one or two of your squaddies, I'm going to have to actually play through, well, in this case, a mission that I've not actually tried out before. And I'm going to be doing it on veteran because, hey, this isn't going to be XCOM unless people die and things go horribly wrong. I'm not going to be save scumming for this. I'm just going to be going in full tilt. Not doing Iron Man though. I'm starting without Iron Man mostly because if something goes exceedingly horribly wrong because of, I don't know, say a bugs in Firaxis games, who would have thunk it? But if I'm going to try to have at least just cycle through 2 or 3 saves, so that if there ends up being a bug that just completely bones the entire playthrough, I don't have to start over from scratch. Oh, and I'm sure as everyone notices, this dapper looking fellow with the digi camo, if you want to call it camo, fedora, this is actually a stand-in for one of the other fleet members, Rubber Duck, or as he goes, Ross. I didn't pick the name they decided to go by, so if you don't believe that's his real name, great. If not, that's probably just as likely. But yeah, he is actually built into the game through the in-game character creator as a potential squaddie. In this case, he is going to be scripted as always coming out as a heavy unless I specifically make him something else. More on that later for people who have never played this. And I say more on that later as in the fact of it'll actually be more on that once we get to that point. Which also means that for other members of Mako 12th or the Darkfin clan, or whatever we end up calling our gaming community, which right now is just going to be Mako 12, if people wish for me to put them in game as characters and come up with a unique and interesting design for them, hey, I'm all for that. Having a unique squad, and if we get and after this first playthrough, if I so desire to go through a higher difficulty playthrough, and people want to do a Mako 12th campaign, I can do that. I make no promises as to whether or not people will actually survive the entire campaign. But enough of me rambling on aimlessly. Let's kick this off. Cutscene!
Continues to build as city centers across the globe prepare for the 20th anniversary of Unification Day.
Thousands line up at the site of the Great Accord, celebrating the formation of the Advent Coalition.
Keeping with their promise to humanity, 12 new gene therapy clinics will be opening in select cities by the end of the new year.
Oh boy!
Despite the attempted attack by French elements, operations at the new facility in Paris thankfully remain unaffected.
In response to the unprovoked intrusion on the eve of our most beloved celebration, the speaker reaches out to us.
That looks like a trustworthy fellow.
A small number of dissidents again repeat the mistakes of the old world.
Striking as we celebrate a benevolent savior who time and again offers only friendship and compassion.
Yet these trivial actions could never break the bond between humanity and the Elders.
Peacekeeping forces have already made several preemptive arrests of known collaborators. Advent again assures all citizens that today's celebrations will continue as planned.
Perfect.
The Advent administration reminds you to report all suspicious activity to your nearest PCD firm. Only together can we build a better tomorrow.
Approaching position. You were right. They've definitely got their hands full today.
Stay focused. Prep gate crasher.
60 seconds.
That looked painful. I thought that I was doing this where I wouldn't have to do the tutorial, but we'll see.
Now.
Signal received. Loud and clear. Okay, Gatecrasher. Your turn.
Oh yeah. Time for some action. Explosions! Great way to start a Monday night. Alright.
The aliens have had long enough to establish their peaceful enclaves within the city's centers. It's time we move in and show them the fight isn't over yet. We're deploying to hit a high-profile target, one that they won't be able to cover up so easily. Move to secure the target site and eliminate any hostile contacts in the area.
Alright, just another little bit of ramble on here while we wait for it to finish loading. XCOM 2 is set after a failed run, or I guess you could say a failed campaign from the first XCOM. The first XCOM 2012. I'll just call it Enemy Within from here on out, just to make it a little easier and clearer to describe. So the premise of Enemy Within was aliens arrived, started doing all sorts of really bad stuff all around, and we're talking like not talking about like what people think of with what would be alien reports, alien sightings of what we see in the world today. You know, suspected cow and livestock mutilation, crop circles, people being abducted and probed. No, this is like even stepped up from there. It's implied that these aliens were behind it, get-go, or get behind the little thing from years and years back, but they just recently, in XCOM, in Enemy Within, they have stepped it up dramatically, and they are actively starting to try to destabilize the world powers, and so the world powers come together and make the extraterrestrial combat unit, or XCOM. And in the game itself, you are taking the role of the commander, the guy in charge, the one who sends all the little squaddies and peons out to fight, and invariably horribly die. But it's for the greater good. Now, so XCOM 2 is set where you failed. And for anyone who hasn't, and if people want me to later do a playthrough of the tutorial mission specifically, I'll do that. It's just, it holds your hand for, look, you need to move this person here. Oh, you need to move this person here. Now you need to use person A to shoot at enemy B. Not really very fun to do. I mean, it expands on the story, gives you a little more insight into what all is going on specifically. But I'd almost suggest that you just go ahead and search for someone else playing the XCOM tutorial so you can get that viewpoint. So, and I think that the explanation between the tutorial and this is the tutorial mission and this mission are actually taking place at the same time from an ontological viewpoint. And this mission here is actually acting as an extra diversion to allow for what occurs on the tutorial mission to transpire. And I'll just leave it at that, so that if people want me to play through it, it'll be more of a quote-unquote surprise. But then again, if you're worried about spoilers for a game, you shouldn't be watching someone playing it. Just saying. And I'm going to be letting the cutscenes play through. I'll try to keep my snarky and sardonic comments to a minimum. But no promises. So, that being said, let's get this train wreck on the road. Well, train wreck on the road, that does actually make sense in a very twisted mindset.
Menace 1-5. We have a fix on the target.
Oh, don't have to move far to get there. Alright. So like I said, XCOM 2 is set after a failed run, or a failed campaign from the first XCOM. That means we are not here being funded by all the various governments who are paying oodles upon oodles upon oodles of trillions of dollars to allow us to research all sorts of neat, fun, dandy, and spanking awesome pieces of tech to fight the alien menace. Rather, we are much more akin to a guerrilla, we are a guerrilla force who are resisting the advent and the alien government, trying to help out with protecting people who are living outside of the alien enclaves, these big, very fancy, very futuristic and flowing, almost Brave New World-esque cities. And generally trying to scrape up enough resources so that we can actually uncover what the aliens are doing, keep them from doing it, get the equipment to be able to fight back against them, and to start pushing back so we can eventually free humanity. So, that being said, this is the turn-based ground combat map, and our task here is to get up to where this target is, which is, so I can remember the controls. Page up and down. Oh, wrong button. Alright, so the end key on the keyboard ends the turn. Insert. Let's see here. I'm sorry, you'll have to bear with me. I probably should have checked this before I started recording, but, well, we can't all be perfect. Center camera and active unit. Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, waypoint mode. That's really, really nice. Let's see here. Okay, Q and E. So yeah. Alright, so there's this big, very ostentatious statue here that we're going to sneak up to, plant a explosive charge right there at the base, and that little tiny whiny itty bitty blue spot there. right beside where the target indicator is at, and make this thing explode into a really, really big pile of rubble. And we're also going to have to kill all the Advent forces because, well, the Advent forces are bad guys. I'll leave it to you to decide how much of that you want to believe. But until then, let's actually get moving.
That location.
Now, as you saw, I moved along
These guys
the
make up
blue
bulk of the
space,
Advent forces we've dealt
or
with.
the blue
They're
squares around
well
the,
equipped, but their obedience makes them predictable.
the blue squares around where my soldier was at, my squatty. And now I have the ability to move to anywhere within these yellow squares here. And you'll note that there are a pair of chevrons just underneath the health bar here, but one of them is dark now. That's because I already made my first move. The way that works in XCom and XCom 2 is you have the ability to do 2 move actions, or a move action and another action. And there are specifics as far as what exactly constitutes a move action, what constitutes a interaction action, but just in general, then there are some later on. There are some skills you can get for your different types of soldiers, different types of squaddies that can change whether you're able to do, or to where you are able to take 2 shots in one turn. But at the start here, you generally get to either move up twice, or move and do something, or move up and shoot. Now we are also starting off concealed, which, as you'll note, there are these red squares with the eye in it. If I move my squaddy into this area here, they get spotted, they get made, and they get shot a lot. From what I understand, in the initial beta that they did for XCOM 2, people were abusing this spotting system to where they would have the squad move up into position, get ready. I'll go into Overwatch, which I'll explain that in a moment as well. And then they would have one of the squad actually move out to where they were spotted, which would always trigger the Advent forces or the alien forces to first run for cover. Now, the way Overwatch works is when you have a squaddy in position and they go on Overwatch, they will take pot shots at the first enemy that tries to move within their sight cone. Well, move out of a space that's within their sight cone. So if I were to have this soldier go on Overwatch here, and then trigger the Advent, and they were to try to run up, either run around and behind the statue for cover, or to run up to try to close the distance and take cover here, or take cover over here, then this squaddy would get shots at the first one that moved through there. And there are later skills that you can get for your troops that will allow them to take more than one Overwatch shot, depending on their class. But in general, there are also, I believe, skills that will allow for them to take shots at people on Overwatch who do things other than move, which is, at least in the first XCOM, you had that, and it was very handy especially after they patched it to where if you had a soldier on Overwatch and the enemy tried to shoot, your soldier on Overwatch would actually take the first shot. Before they patched it, it was a little annoying to have it where the enemy would pop up to shoot, they'd actually fire, potentially hitting and or killing one of your troops, maybe even the one who's on Overwatch, who was about to shoot and kill them. That's neither here nor there. But since we are starting off in concealment, what is the best thing to do, especially since we are the sneaky, sneaky guerrilla forces? And no, I do not mean the large simians that could break me into tiny little pieces like I was so much of a bundle of twigs. Oh, come on. I gotta get a few puns in here every now and again. I'm going to see about moving all my troops into position, or into good positions, and then I will trigger the Overwatch from the enemy, or I will trigger the enemies so that they can get all, or so that I can get off some really good shots on them from the get-go before they are able to react, which would ideally result in all the enemies dying. But I think everyone, or I think most people, can at least imagine how well things go ideally, especially in XCom. I mean, take it as mimetic of a thing as you want, but after the 4th or 5th time that you end up missing your 5th or 6th 99% shot in a row, you start to get a little salty. But as it goes, that's XCOM, baby.
I'm all over it.
So this first round is usually spent of moving up, getting into position. Now you need to note, the Advent aren't the only people and the only things that can spot you. These are civilians. These are humans that we are ostensibly attempting to rescue. But they take, call it what you will, they are drinking the Kool-Aid. They aren't true believers. They haven't seen the light of day. They don't realize the danger they're in. Blah, 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 blah. Point is, these civilians will spot you. There are also little scan towers. I don't think there are any on this particular map, but oh no, there's one. This is a scanning tower. I don't know if that's what's actually called, but we'll call it that because it scans the area and keeps an eye on. This can spot you. You have to be really careful that you don't get spotted when you're trying to get this initial assault done. And not every mission will give you the luxury of preparing to the nth degree. A lot of these missions are actually set on a timer, where we have a limited time to get in and capture supplies, and then get out. Where we have a limited time to get in, rescue some resistance contact, capture some VIP of Advent or of the alien government, or even just get in, destroy a transmit tower, or in other cases where you have a limited time to get in, do a task, and then make it to the extract point before your extract vehicle, the Sky Ranger, gets spotted or run off by intercept vehicles. If you don't get your troops to the exfil site in time, they will be left behind and they will be captured and probably killed. I mean, they're effectively as good as killed anyway, because they got captured. You no longer have use of them. I think there are missions that you can get if you have a captured troop where you can rescue them, either because they managed to escape and just continue to evade Advent forces until they were able to send off a signal calling for a secondary extract, or because they got captured and then escaped captivity, or a little bit of A, a little bit of B. But that's not something you want to bank on. It may happen, it may not. So, I'm going to move people up into a real good close. This is about the best I can get from here. At least without putting myself into a bad position. Alright, I'll try to explain these symbols here as well, real fast. You see these half shield symbols and these full shield symbols are telling you what type of cover your squad will get if you put them in the square that's right beside it, from that direction. So that means from here, this is effectively giving me full cover, because it's a full shield from anyone that's attacking from this direction. This one gives me half cover because it's a half shield from anyone attacking from this direction, or from anywhere that's not along the 180-degree arc on to the, from our perspective here, lower right of this square. What these red or the color differences are as follows. Blue means you are in cover and not flanked. Red means while you are in cover, you are being flanked. If you're flanked, that means the enemy either has a shot completely around your side, or is firing in enfilade along. Is firing on you in enfilade, which is along the same line as your cover. If your cover is not between you and the enemy, it's not doing you any good at stopping the bullets. Plasma blasts, laser blasts, angry mandibles, harsh words. I would say ugly faces, but well, some of these troops aren't exactly the most good-looking ones already either. So, putting yourself into a place where you have a red square is not usually advisable. I say not usually. It's always a tactical consideration. It's always a case of pros and cons. But by and large, blue, good. Red, bad. Now, I don't really have much of anywhere else I can move this person without going way out of the way. I don't want to take, 5 hours just to finish this first mission, especially with me rambling on and talking about the different mechanics. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this squaddy here, Jacinta. Yeah, I guess that's Jacinta. Jacinta Krieger. Oh, and if you hover over their name when you're selecting them, you get the whole thing coming up with their health and all the different stats. Alright, so armor will come into play once we actually research some armor that is of some use. Right now, they're just wearing standard flak jackets. The standard flak jacket doesn't really do a whole lot to stop the advent weapons early on, because they're using some sort of, even the low level grunts are using some sort of magnetic acceleration or Gauss style weapon. Pigeon! Kill it! And I'm pointing at the different things with my finger here, because that's just how I work. Don't judge me! Alright, so you have health, that's how many hit points you have. Different weapons from enemies will take off, or will do different levels of damage, to a somewhat randomized degree. Aim, that's the base chance to hit an enemy. 65 is, well, that's the standard aim level for rookies, which is the rank, which is indicated in the lower left-hand corner by the, I guess, let's just be honest, that's a target. And that's all the rookies really are, until they prove themselves good enough to be squaddy, which they do that by surviving a mission, more or less. Maybe surviving a mission, actually taking down an advent, or accomplishing a task. The second one is hack. That's not going to come into play until we actually get someone who can hack, or we get something that we can hack. But that is how well they are able to bypass the security on the advent of the alien systems, which that usually comes into play when you hack a system. Well, I'll cover that when it comes up. The next stat is will. What will is how much chance you have to resist being scared, being shaken, freaking out when the squad gets shot, freaking out when somebody else in your squad gets killed, and so on and so forth. Now, as I pointed out, there's no armor stat because we don't have any actual armor yet. Or to be more accurate, the armor that we have is only giving, I think, 1 or 2 points of health extra above the base squaddy, or the base rookie HP. And what armor actually does when we get true armor is it straight up blocks damage. So something that would do 4 damage if you have 2 armor only does 2 damage. Unless the armor gets bypassed or removed somehow. Unfortunately, that goes for the enemies too. I know I'm going to be running into armored enemies at some point. That's not going to be fun if I don't have the ability, or if I don't have the squaddies or the skills to be able to bypass or negate that armor. Dodge. Dodge is how much chance you have to have the incoming damage. So if somebody shoots at you or shoots at one of my squaddies for 4 points of damage, but they have, say, a 10% chance to dodge, and they make the dodge roll. They only take 2 points of damage. Again, the enemies get this as well. And size strength is going to come in game, and the only way we're going to see how much size strength somebody has is once we get the ability to train soldiers in psionics. So that's how good they are with their psionics, if I remember correctly. And that was me dropping my my ring on my desk here. So, Cynthia Krieger, Overwatch.
Scanning.
Olga. Yeah, we'll stay here for now because another thing to note is you may be in a position where you are safe and not flanked initially, but the enemy does have this little nasty habit of moving around. If you're in a position where you put yourself in this position here, it's really likely that they'd be able to move up and get to a flanking spot. I believe that right here would actually be considered flanking, though it depends on exactly how. It could potentially be a flanking shot, because the way they calculate it is it's not just from this position here, it's from if you have a person taking cover here and they're taking shots at somebody down here, they'll actually step out from behind cover and shoot. And if they step out while they're still technically in cover, they're stepping out and shooting from this position, not from this position. So this would actually be flanked. By me having 2 squaddies over here, that's going to negate their desire to run this way. So it's probably best for Olga to go on Overwatch there as well. That's somebody named Kellen, but I can't tell if that's... I guess I'll have to see if that's a dude or a lass. It looks more like a dude, to be quite honest. But, what do I know? I've actually already moved them up to this position, so... Yeah, I'm also going to move, and I'm going to move Xi Ping. You can call him Ping because that looks like... it looks like a Chinese flag there, could be wrong. It's a small red flag. Hard to tell. But if we're presuming that that is someone from a Asiatic nation, then their surname is the first one, their last name is the second one. So that's not how it goes with you putting the names into the squaddy list. But we'll just call them Ping for now because that's easier to pronounce than their first name, or than the former name. I'm going to move them up behind this truck. This is mildly risky. Vehicles have a nasty habit of exploding when they get shot or when they get grenaded, which may as well go over that as well. There are 4 different buttons down here, at least for right now. These are just all the different actions that you can take. So from left to right, we have fire weapon. Pretty self-explanatory. It also always ends the unit's turn, except for the gunner class if they have a specific skill, but these are all rookies. So fire weapon, self-explanatory. You fire the weapon. Overwatch, already kind of covered what Overwatch is, but it's also not going. The Overwatch, when you're concealed, the Overwatch will not trigger until someone in your squad gets made. So you can move everyone up, have everyone go into Overwatch, and a patrolling in an advent patrol walking past will not trigger the Overwatch unless they end up noticing somebody in your squad. Now the way that works is if we were to have this advent troop, say walk up even to here, they will, even though their detection range will extend past what's that? Kellen? Yeah, even though their detection range will extend past Kellen, even past Ping, they will not actually spot Kellen or Ping until either of them move. Unless, if we were to have the Advent Soldier walk up to the point where they would be flanking a troop, even if they are concealed, they will then be spotted. So that's another tactical consideration, because there are plenty of those. Third one is to hunker down. When you hunker down, it increases your defense and your dodge, so it gives you a chance to, even if you get hit, to only take partial damage. It only works in cover, and if you hunker, you can't fire, and it also reduces your sight range. So if you were to hunker, then you may not notice somebody else moving up until you come out of the hunker. And this last one is throw frag grenade, which right now, with this being the first mission, everyone in this mission was equipped with one piece of equipment, namely a frag grenade. That does, I think, 3 damage, maybe 3 to 4 damage. It does damage in an area of effect because it's a grenade. It's an explosion, and there's shrapnel, and that generally does damage to things in a radius or in a zone. And it's also, instead of like with but you also only get 1 charge, which is denoted by the fact that it says X1. You only get one, it's 1 grenade, you throw it, it explodes, done. Again, there are later skills that can improve this. Now, and the last thing to note is, well, I'll put Ping on Overwatch, and I'll show you with this, or with this, with Kellen. If I go to, say, to shoot, I get to cycle through all available targets, which I can either do by clicking on their symbol above the fire weapon button here, or by just pressing tab to go back and forth. And that's, again, saying hit chance, crit chance, and the chance for critting is doing, I think, 50% or 75% extra damage, and it's telling you what the damage range is. And over here is also giving you a breakdown of specifically what is leading into the hit chance, what's leading into the crit chance, and so on. Now, if I were to say to throw a frag grenade instead, you see that's showing me the nice little area. And it's also giving me a nice indicator in that you see, like this, I have any targets that are going to be affected are highlighted by the or highlighted as long as they are visible to me. So if this guy was completely out of my sight line, I wouldn't even know it was here. But I can still throw it. I can still throw the grenade over here and catch him. And they changed the way that these work compared to how the grenades and area effect weapons were in Enemy Within and Enemy Unknown. In that, in Enemy Unknown, if I were to be all cheeky and put the grenade indicator like right there, it would still technically catch this guy up here. And so if there was a 4th person down by this planter, I could do I could like throw the grenade here, splitting the difference or landing right on the line between two squares, and be able to get a little more bang for my buck. I'm sorry. Not sorry. In XCom 2, they changed it to where it's far more grid-based, which just makes it so that you have a lot less cheesing of how the grenades work. which makes it simpler, makes it easier to code to code its effects. So, I'm not too terribly put off by that. So, I'm gonna take a shot at this guy over here on the right because I have two people over to the left that may not see him initially, so he may actually move in a way that only one person paying would get shots on him, as opposed to Olga and whatever the other person's name was. I forget now. I'm bad with names. Oh, and down here in the lower right, you see how there's a flashing box underneath the weapon that I have selected? That's telling me how much ammunition I have for my weapon. You don't have to manage how many total magazines your squad carry into battle. That was how it was in the original XCom way back in 99 or 2000, whenever that was released. So, in the original XCOM, you could have your troops run out of ammo mid-fight and be reduced down to using their fists or having to scrounge around. That's not the case in XCOM, in Enemy Within, and Enemy Unknown, or in XCOM 2. But you still have to manage how many total shots you have in the magazine. And if you run out of shots mid-firefight, that's kind of bad. So it's pretty standard practice to, if you have a moment or a lull especially as you're trying to consolidate your squad, people that you aren't having rushing up to meet back up with everyone else will generally reload to make sure that they have a full set of rounds going to the next fight. Speaking of fights, let's take a shot. Come on, Rook. Ooh, and he hit. They. And that earned 4 promotions. So, Advent troops yell. The sound completely goes wonky. Oh, and 2 shots, 2 people dead. Oh, for crying out loud. And now everything is moving around, and sorry, my computer had a bit of a dark moment there. So, that's 1 squad down. We are now no longer in concealed mode. So, the next Advent patrol that we get sight on, they're going to get to move as soon as they get spotted. And if I leave somebody completely out in the open, it's a pretty good chance, it's not a certainty, but it's a pretty good chance that the Advent forces will also take a pot shot at them. So, now we have to be a little more wary of how we're going about moving up here. Alright.
Understood. Moving out.
Okay, you move up there. You're going to move up to here.
Moving on target location.
Up, and that civilian decided they wanted to be elsewhere. Now, just for a quick note, this is how the waypoint system works. Used to, I can just tell my squaddy to move to whatever position I feel like, provided, even as long as it's within the blue or the yellow move. Now, if I do a blue move, that's only using up one of their actions for this turn. If I move all the way out to the yellow, even if it's just 1 step out, then that is consuming their second action as well. So, but it's colloquially referred to as either doing a blue move or a yellow move, because you're either moving within the blue squares or in the yellow squares. We're gamers. We're not exactly the most imaginative of people all the time. Sometimes we just go for pure description. Give me a break. Now, the way the waypoint works is if there was, say, let's say that along this path, right here was a square that would get my troop detected. So but here isn't, because you have an Advent trooper over here, so they see this spot, but not this spot, or up here. So if I try to move like this, I move through the detection zone, boom, spotted, cover blown. People are going to die. Generally, and not just any people, but my people. And the gear that the rookies are carrying, it's a little hard to replace. Like I said, it's guerrilla move. It's a guerrilla. We're guerrilla force now. That being said, if I were with using the waypoint system, I can hold down Control, click here, and then that's reduced. That's saying that okay, from here I can make one more square of movement. So that actually doesn't help me out too much. But that's the. I gotta say that it was. We're trying to get here, but we can't move through this square for whatever reason. So click there. Oh, look, I can waypoint around the obstacle. Actually, yeah, I'll be moving here anyway.
Closing on target position now.
Yep. Eyes on the prize.
You're near the target position.
Alright. Now you get to move up to here.
I'm on the move.
And that's everyone having made their first move.
Got it covered. Scanning.
And I'm just using a hotkey here to put everyone on Overwatch without having to hit the 2 button twice. Now, since I was no longer concealed, as soon as the enemy squad wandered into me, ooh, and I just took down the squad leader of that group. That's nice. I don't believe that they are on Overwatch. I think they just kind of panicked and stayed there because they didn't want to run any closer. Though they probably should have taken some cover, but yeah, whatever. And that guy dropped some loot. Loot is good. You know, we're having to, guerrilla force again. We're having to move up and take what we can get. And that loot can be anything from something that'll give us extra intel, which is going to be necessary for a bunch of different things, or it could be something like a piece of kit that can be useful, a weapon modification. But
okay,
it only lasts for a set period of time before it expires. Take a shot. And miss. Darn rookies.
I got nothing.
Wait, does that say 7 now? Okay, I was about to say. Like, 7 turns to get it? I'll take that.
Moving to designated position.
But yeah. So, 67%, 66. That's not a whole lot of better. But, ooh, and that was a crit as well.
Enemy
Got them.
destroyed.
So that gives us
Ammo fast.
2, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get... Yeah. I'll move up to here, but I don't believe I'm able to, Nope. So, you just get to run the rest of the way up and be in position in case I need you to shoot next turn. Alright, Kellen. Yeah, that's a dude. Ooh, and Kellen nails the shot.
Enemy eliminated.
Brilliant.
Area is secure. We're not picking up any inbound contacts. Scanners are clear.
Yeah, that was a
window to act before Advent responds. We need to get those charges
that was a
planted on the double.
That was a truck that took a stray shot from one of my troops. It doesn't always happen where after a vehicle takes a few stray shots that they explode. But that was with a stray shot that just happened to miss the Advent trooper here and hit the truck way over there. That's not even dang close. So that wasn't even somebody taking cover behind it. That was just
moving
in the general vicinity. That happened to be bad luck. Ooh, I got myself an advanced expanded magazine. I don't know what the advanced itself means, except it's probably better than the regular expanded magazine. But, an expanded magazine. The PCS here is not going to come into play until we get a little farther into the game anyway. haven't even really gotten too far on that myself either. But it's neither here nor there. Point is, we got loot, and we got some nice loot.
Good copy. Moving on target.
Now, we've neutralized all the enemy targets. Only thing left to do, as you can see, one, I have a button here for reloading. It can trigger a reload. Now, the reload in old XCom, if you reloaded on your first action, that was it. You'd reload and be done. And a lot of people would end up accidentally reloading, and they had moved their troop, and now like, I can't believe I did that, and now you just wasted half of a turn. In XCOM 2, you can reload,
Rock and roll.
and then move. Or go on Overwatch. So, you are still having to make a tactical decision. You can't move and reload and go on Overwatch. But you can reload and go back onto Overwatch. So sometimes it's better to do that and let the enemy continue to come to you than to reload and then move, or to move and go on Overwatch but then be out of ammo at the start of the next turn. I can't confirm it now, but I think you can reload and then fire your weapon, but I'm not sure about that. But you see how I was saying that this was all the different actions you can take. Now that I'm at the objective point, I got a new one to hit, which shifts how everything down here falls. You know, the hunker down moved from the 3 position to the 4 position, and everything past it got offset by 1. So, but I plant the explosives, arm it, and I think that's mission.
Menace 1-5, rendezvous at the extraction point.
Oh, okay.
Status confirmed.
Okay, no,
Squad is
yep.
clear.
That's mission. They don't actually have me go to an extraction point. Such a nice understated statue. Yeah, and it also tells you what the mission type was after the end, the objective, whether you completed, partial, failed, fled, I believe, or if everyone's just wiped out, which is, again, the slang term for that in the XCOM community is a code black. Like I said, we're not necessarily always the most imaginative. Sometimes we just go with a nice, clear descriptor. You know, it tells you how many turns you took, you know, how many enemies you killed out of total. And this total will increase in some missions where you will continue to get enemy reinforcements showing up throughout the mission. So if you finished a mission where only 3 more enemy troops had showed up right there at the end and I'd still extracted, that'd be 6 out of 9. As opposed to where I killed everybody and there's nobody else that showed up, where it's just 6 out of 6. How many soldiers got hurt, which I believe even counts if you were to have someone get hurt and then get healed. They're still spending time in the med bay. And then you have soldiers killed. Pretty self-explanatory. Which then gives you, and then all this aggregates out to a rating. The turns taken doesn't really matter as far as the rating, outside of just the fact of submissions are going to be restricted based off of you have 8 turns to get into position, secure the objective, and then prepare to extract. Other times you'll have 12 turns to do everything, including extracting. Other times it'll be you have 7 turns to get in and stop something from happening to an objective. And then after that, between that and the extract, it's just you can either extract, you can kill all the enemies, and then you're basically leaving at your leisure. Or you can, there's always the option of, even after accomplishing the objective, everyone dies. So, we will continue on. What I'm going to do, you also get another stat screen here where it tells you successful shot percentage, damage per attack, average enemy kills per turn, average cover bonus. Yeah, just doesn't really mean a whole lot, but hey, it can be a little interesting. Especially seeing things like most under fire. In this case, it's nobody because none of us got shot at. That's ideal. That doesn't happen often. Because it doesn't always happen where you're able to take out an entire enemy force in an opening ambush and then bounce the first patrol where they don't have the ability to really fire back or move up towards you to fire back. That was, again, pretty much about as ideal as you can get. And now we're going into some more cutscenes. So, the obligatory cool ship, VTOL kind of,
We really put a hurt on the aliens this time, Commander. They won't forget it.
It's a VTOL slash jet propelled slash some sort of alien something or other. It's a cool plane. And you also get things like, okay, you see here, rookie, last name, rookie, last name, rookie, last name, blah, blah, blah. If you have a soldier that gets promoted, you can click the promote button. That promotes them. Self-explanatory. It also tells you how many missions they've been on, how many how many aliens or advent they've killed. And it shows you the hit point level. Now, the hit point level, how much they get hurt, will dictate how they're standing here on the after action report screen. If they didn't get hurt at all, they just stand here normally, like this. Maybe even a little cocky looking, like this smug son of a gun. I'm gonna have you police that ponytail so sneaking fast. You just look like a dirtbag with it otherwise. You're going way too hard on the super tactical operator side of thing. But yeah, whatever. So, let's go ahead and promote Krieger, or not Krieger, Crumb here. See what they got.
Operating some of our most advanced equipment, specialists deploy robotic drones on the battlefield that can be outfitted for combat or field medic duty.
So, Olga Crumb, Squatty, which is the rank above Rookie. And they are a specialist. Aid Protocol. That little, this little floaty alien thing here. Or not alien thing, this little floaty robot thing here. It's called a gremlin. It's just out of the shot. I don't know if that's because I'm having to run this on a lower resolution because my computer is trash, or if it's just floating up there because they kind of are portrayed as being a little bit on the obstinate side. Yeah, they're supposed to be like little AI-controlled robots that help out the specialists. Specialist, support class. They either are focused on hacking electronics, hacking enemy systems, hacking enemy robots, neutralizing the same, or on aiding, supporting, and healing your allies. Which, again, like I was mentioning about the hack skill. Specialists are the ones that get the highest hack rating as far as I understand it. And they also have the ability that they can send their little gremlin over to hack so you don't have to be right beside the target to hack it. An aid protocol, all that does is it sends the gremlin over and through some sort of sci-fi technobabble, it increases the defense rating of whichever one of your troops you send it over to until you get the start of your next turn. Get really handy if you get one of your troops caught out in the open and you have nowhere to move them that's good cover. You know, if you see a burning car, once a car or a vehicle starts burning, you want to be as far away from it as possible. Well, you don't want to be standing next to it. It will explode on the next turn. So, if the only cover that would be available is now a burning car, you stand there, you're gonna take some damage just from the explosion. by having a gremlin provide aid protocol that could actually I believe it gives them as much defense as if they were in full cover. It might just be half cover. I said it's been a while since I've actually pulled this back up and played it. But it's still giving you defense as if you were in some form of cover. And you can't be flanked at that point. Yeah, I believe that it also means that you cannot be flanked, because it's not like there's a piece of cover that they're standing behind that's keeping you from, or that the enemy can just step around and shoot you unhindered. It's actually giving you some sort of technobabble defense field, because I don't know, inverse tachyons. All right, let's see what Krieger's getting, because he didn't score any kills with your dreadlock self. But you look good doing it. Because you couldn't hit anything, we're giving you a bigger gun.
Demolitions experts,
and grenades.
The Grenadiers provide heavy ordnance delivery whenever and wherever we need it.
Seems legit. Oh, you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn otherwise. Have a minigun and a grenade launcher. Now, the grenades that you... This is still using the grenades that you have in the in your item slot. But if you, I guess you could just imagine it's a little pneumatic launcher that you drop the grenade in, and it allows for you to throw them farther. And also, I believe, gives you a second equipment slot that is just for grenades. And the first skill that you get when you get promoted, or when a troop gets promoted to squatty, is okay, yeah. When the first skill that you get when a troop is promoted to squatty, you always get that. From here on out, from corporal up through colonel, you need to pick one or the other of the skills. Not telling you that's what it is because they're locked. But so from here, you can use this to make different different soldier builds. And we'll go over that, and I'll probably have to just half wing it once it comes up, because yes, I have watched somebody else play this before. Yes, I have played XCom in the Unknown before, but I forget exactly what all the skills were for XCOM 2, so we shall see. Oh, Ranger.
The Ranger serves as our primary reconnaissance unit, capable of moving independently in concealment while engaging enemies at...
Oops, didn't mean to skip that. My bad. Point is, they're able to... They're a lot more of the get in close, get up and flank, and they even get a nice machete so that when they get in close to the aliens or to the Advent, they can carve them up. It's not a 100% chance to hit, if I remember correctly, even with the slash. I guess you just pretend that whoever they were attacking was able to dodge it. And there are some enemies that you don't want to run up right beside and then start hacking away at for various reasons. We will probably run into those later as I make the mistake and try to slash them, because that's how I roll. But yeah, they're also far more of scouts. They can even get a skill along the scout tree, I believe, that allows for them, even after the squad initially gets revealed from concealment, they can conceal back up again, and so they can scout around and not immediately get made by the Advent or alien forces. Which means that Murphy here, Mr. 3 kills, gonna totally chop off that ponytail later. It's probably gonna be, yep, marksman.
Just like it sounds, our sharpshooters engage enemy targets with pinpoint accuracy from extreme range. They're also trained in pistol marksmanship for the occasional close encounter.
Yep, sharpshooters. They get a big daggum sniper rifle, and which, unlike every other weapon, the farther away an enemy is, up to a certain point, mind, but the farther away an enemy is, the more accurate they become. which does make a little bit of sense because if you have one of these really long rifles and you're trying to swing it around to track a target close up, it doesn't work too well. It's just a lot of mass to be moving around. They also get a skill called Squad Sight. What this means is this guy doesn't actually have to see the enemy directly within his vision cone. If you have one of your other troops who can spot him, so long as your sharpshooter has a direct line of sight to the enemy, you can take shots at him. And then to deal with the close encounter, or anybody gets in close, because that's when you start getting into the massive aim penalties on this big old rifle. They have a hand cannon, which that's just what that is. Good lord, it's like almost a 8-inch barrel. That's a gargantuan revolver. I like it. Alright, so specialist, ranger, sharpshooter, grenadier. We have one of the first for all the different classes. Oh, and because they leveled up or ranked up, got promoted, they get more hit points too. Alright. Oh, advanced expanded magazine. It gives 2 more shots per reload. And this is basically a little chip that you can plug into your... once we get to the point where that's explained, that'll probably make more sense. Also, we gathered the corpses because we need to do sciencey stuff to them. That's just how XCom goes. But on that note,
Commander to the
I'm going to go ahead and save here. Yep. Save up. Well, make a 12 campaign. Save. And I suppose this will be a good enough place to stop for the first episode. Well, y'all have a enjoyable rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, what have you. And we shall see when I'm able to upload another video. Until such time, Commander Daniels, signing off.